Andy Biggs is back. Hey, man.
Hey, I thought I was doing that. We're both on the same page.
Look at that.
Jimmy.
Look at that. It's working. Oh, it's working. Good to hear from you, man. Yeah, that Biden unity speech was so inspiring. Bill Clinton fell asleep on the dais.
And as I heard it, I was thinking of the Soviet unity, the former Soviet unity, as I was listening, and that's inspiring. Come on, Jimmy. Those are the best jokes I got.
Man. I liked it. No. I liked it. I actually thought it was solid because I have been saying on a substantive level that unity does really just mean conformity in this instance because they want you to shut up. And a guy like Bill Clinton who's been in politics long enough, that is probably why he went to bed. He was like, I can't even live the charade. But by the way, did you notice when he went to bed, he still kind of kept one eye open because he was next to Hillary? He's like, I'm not going.
Well, that's a necessity. That is, he's been doing that for about how many years they've been married now?
Yeah,
you got to keep one eye open.
Yeah, I set you up for a cheap shot. Come on, man. We got to, we still got to be, we do need some partisan punchlines if we're going to play along with the charade. But my question to you is this, okay? There's a lot of people calling to, give Joe Biden a chance. As he goes, we go. And I try to embrace that mentality as a guy who does like to think he puts country ahead of party. But to start here, did the left, just clear this up for my listeners, did the left and the media ever actually give Donald Trump a chance?
No, they didn't. I mean, don't forget, they had the federal apparatus was spying on his campaign before he was president. Mm-hmm. Then they tried to scuttle the transition. Don't forget, you got Michael Flynn and these others that they were going after. And don't forget Obama and Biden and company are there. They're getting briefed on the setup by Comey, where Comey's going to basically conduct a sting operation on President-elect Donald Trump the next day.
Which is crazy.
And all that was going on. And the first impeachment resolution had already been filed.
Yes.
And he hadn't even been sworn in yet. So I wouldn't say that they really gave him a great chance, a great chance. But
they gave him a chance to get himself in trouble, basically. They gave him a chance, talk unbeknownst to him.
Yeah.
But, all right, so I want to ask you, because we're hearing reports that Joe Biden is going to invite the top 4 congressional leaders to the White House, possibly as soon as tomorrow. Do you think he is sincere about working across the aisle?
No.
Really?
I don't. It's hard for me to believe yet. We'll see how it goes. Mm-hmm. What my experience has been so far as being in the minority for the last 2 years is that they will work with you across the aisle as long as you do what they say. Mm-hmm. There's no give and take. They've altered all the rules over here. He's not even willing to say, look, President Trump is gone. Why are you guys wasting time on an impeachment trial to convict this guy?
Yeah.
If he really was sincere about putting some of this animus to bed, he would say, let's stop that impeachment travesty. Let's move on, and let's get about whatever he thinks his primary policy agenda is. But that's not happening.
Yeah, that's a good point, because they have to recognize the ridiculousness of impeaching a guy after he's out of office. It's clearly a political motivation at that point. It's not being done to, help the American people. It's not being, it's not a way to prioritize our lives. It's a way to prioritize their own political power, which nobody appreciates. But talking about political power, I wanted to ask you this. We hated executive orders in this country for the last 4 years, but they seem to be pretty popular yesterday, especially, Paris climate change, and, we can get to all of it. But the thing I wanted to ask you about was the Keystone Pipeline. Is that the job killer that we're reading it is in terms of revoking those permits?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, first of all, you've got thousands of people employed building the pipeline. You got thousands of people that will be employed once that thing gets fully operational. Mm-hmm. It also kills some of our relationship with our northern neighbor Canada, because we're working with them on it.
Yes.
It really is detrimental in so many ways, but the underlying foundation of it is this notion that we should not be energy independent unless it's whatever energy they think is sustainable. Mm-hmm. I mean, they won't admit that nuclear is sustainable, but solar is sustainable. But if we're not energy independent, Jimmy, the foundation for the Trump economy that was so solid, low taxes, fewer regulations, that goes by the wayside. So being energy independent has actually been one of the great foundations through the COVID bad economy. It's helped us out enormously, and so they want to kill that for some reason.
That's insane to me. I mean, you got to think about this. You're in one breath, you're going to tell us you can bring the country together. In the next one, you've upset Canadians. Do you know how hard it is to upset Canadians?
Only if an American hockey team wins, then that will upset Canadians.
I mean, that's about it, though. Which it doesn't always happen,
exactly.
But that's about it. They watched the Blue Jays suck for 30 years. They finally snuck in a few World Championships in the 90s, but they were on board with that because they were too polite to complain. But for them to speak up day one about a pipeline means we really screwed something up, Andy Biggs. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right, and don't forget the Montreal Expos all those years. But you have forgotten, most have. The reality is, what the Biden agenda does is it in my opinion, it's a nod toward consolidation of power. I mean, moving right back into the Paris Climate Accords and coupling that with the Keystone Pipeline, you're basically emasculating. You're setting the stage to emasculate our economy. Those two things in and of themselves.
What is the gain? Can I just jump in? What is the gain? Is it an environmental virtue signal, or is there something larger at play that I don't understand?
No, I think it is. It's all to be symbolic for the environmental special interest groups that support leftist causes. And never forget, the environmental movement is not one of freedom and free markets. It's one of authoritarianism and control. And I think this signals exactly where we're going, whether it's the way Pelosi and Schumer are going to conduct business in the Congress, whether it's the big tech censorship on social media, all of that going on. I think we're moving to this kind of weird, really anti-American authoritarianism, and this signals that, in my opinion.
Wow, that's scary stuff. You're just joining us, Representative Andy Biggs on the line from the Fighting 5th Congressional District of Arizona. The nice thing is it does seem like we can count on the media to really put the screws to this administration.
Exactly. Oh gosh, what was the one yesterday?
What color's the plane going to be?
Exactly. You got to paint the plane. No, we're kicking around. We got a commission going on the plane color.
If Joe Biden were a Spice Girl, would he be Scary Spice? It was like Posh Spice. It was absurd. He would be Sleepy Spice. We know the answer.
Oh no, you're thinking of one of the Seven Dwarfs. That's Sleepy.
Oh, I was just. I see what you did. I see what you did there. We don't have Seven Dwarfs actually, because 4 of them are working from home now because of the lockdowns. It's Snow White and the 3 dwarfs.
Yeah, you can get them on Zoom though.
Yeah,
that's we're gonna have a Zoom meeting.
Hey, better you get them on Zoom than Jeffrey Toobin. There you go.
Oh.
There you go. There you go.
You had to go there. That was below the belt if I've ever heard one.
Well, oh, Biggs with the tag. That's a hell of a tag. I don't know if you realize how good that is. But stick with me now. Stick with me. The producer just opened a flask and took a long pull in the control room. I kid. Let me ask you this, man. Even the idea to get back into bed with the World Health Organization, they lied to us about the virus.
I see what you did there.
Oh, no, I wasn't even trying to now. Now we just set ourselves up. You stop it.
Yeah.
You stop it. No, but for real, like the idea of the World Health Organization, who not only misled us about the ability of the virus to spread from person to person, but didn't they just change the protocol on positive tests too?
Yeah, I mean, and this is by the way, this has been out there for many months. England admitted it. Some of the states in America admitted that their PCR tests were set to parameters that were too sensitive, so they would actually find a positive test result because there was virus in there that was inactive, dead, dormant, whatever you want to call it, that was non-transmissible. But they were still testing positive because just how they set their dials, I guess. Okay. And the result is they overstated coronavirus cases. And this was quietly announced, as you correctly point out, I believe just yesterday during the inauguration.
Wow. They just, tucked it right in there. And it's crazy stuff because, as we sit here and discuss this, what I'm watching is like a very it's almost like a tactful and calculated way for them to continue saying the right things and doing the wrong ones. That's my fear right now. And I don't know how we take the power back. But I guess what I've got to ask you is, as someone the president likes so much, talking about Donald Trump, is it your job, Andy Biggs, to talk him out of starting his own party?
Yeah, I don't think that's a really a winner ultimately. I mean, we've got to make sure that we unify as much as we possibly can. We need to keep the 74 million people that voted for Donald Trump
together,
and we need to keep them together. And then we need to get the state legislatures to make sure that they have election integrity in their various states, the way Florida and Ohio cleaned up their mess.
Yeah.
And so if the states clean up their mess, you got 74 million in your base. If they all come out again, Republicans can win. We can win this thing back. Yeah,
that's actually I think that is what everyone's going to realize pretty quickly is how winnable it will be just based on the plans we're seeing out of the Democrats. Like the best thing we could do is not be what they were. Meaning we could be a resistance to the ballot box, okay, or in the conversation, but I almost want people to give them a chance to lead because these policies speak for themselves in terms of being counterproductive to American interests. Just everything you outlined in the call, whether it was the pipeline or the climate change or the World Health Organization, I almost think giving them their platform, giving them their moment in the sun might be to our advantage. So why don't we just try to go, maybe score a couple of weekends at Mar-a-Lago, stay off the grid till they screw it up, and then we come back.
Well, the problem is so much of what they want to do will cause almost irreparable harm to the country. I mean, look, Jimmy, I'll just tell you the immigration plan that Joe Biden has got is introduced it's going to be very, very difficult to turn the clock back on that. So we've got to be vigilant. And by the way, of those 74 million, don't forget, a lot of them are really fed up with Republican leadership, both in Congress and nationally and in their own states. And I get that. I'm very, very sympathetic with that.
Yeah, that I get. Yeah. So I guess the plan forward then is you would say to, conservatives out there, keep fighting that good fight in terms of, unity. I don't think there's a sincere offer on the table to unify so much as there's an opportunity to conform and repent. But basically, stay focused. 2022 is coming, and we've got to be in fighting shape to get to the polls. Is that the message? I just want to leave them on something positive.
Yeah, and I think all of that's doable. But you got to get the state legislatures have got to be involved. We control most states. They have to be involved, and the grassroots have to remain involved, and we can turn it. I mean, it is. And by the way, I've been told that I can't say fighting anymore. I don't know quite what to say, but we can. I keep cheer on our team. What I don't know what it means.
Compete.
Yeah, we can compete harder, but the reality is, it is going to be there for the taking, but we have got to keep fighting now and make our voices heard. How about that? Can I say that? Make our voices heard.
Thank you. Not fighting.
About what's going on, because these things are going to damage our republic, and we got to make sure that we're in the game. You can't win if you don't play. That's just the way it is.
I agree. I mean, sound words from what some people would say is a seditious traitor, Andy Biggs. I defend you. You know what's really funny that I've been talking about since that horrific day at the Capitol is that you were on my show minutes before you went into the chamber, and you were very honest with my audience. You were like, hey, we're not going in there to change the election result. That's not going to happen. But we are going to point at some improprieties, as the Democrats did 3 different times when they lost a presidential election. But I don't feel like your message was characterized that way in the media. Do you feel misrepresented a little bit?
Yes. I mean, to say that I started or organized or whatever they're saying is just absolutely. I find myself, who do they think they're talking about?
I said the same thing. I'm like, Biggs isn't that capable. Would you stop it? Come on.
Exactly.
I wouldn't let you organize a card game on a Wednesday night. But
I can't do it. No, can't do.
I kid. But no, it was funny, and I have been defending you because I was like, no, he was on the air with me before it happened. That wasn't what we were telling people. We were telling people we do need election integrity because 2 elections in a row where the losing side doesn't think it was legitimate is a really bad recipe for that 3rd election coming up in 2024. So I want you to know that I appreciate you competing the good compete. You see how I couldn't say fighting the good fight?
Exactly.
Keep on competing the good compete, Andy Biggs.
Right, and I'll do it. I'll run the good race. You do that too, and whatever you stay out of the boxing ring because I don't know what to do. We're boxing a good box. How about that?
Listen,
I don't know.
You're a good they, Andy Biggs. You're a good they. I will. I'll see you soon. That's the closer. Good work,
Thanks,
man.
Jimmy.
You're the best. There he goes, Andy Biggs.